In 1978, on Changbai Mountain, the villagers said a 600 to 700 gene black bear was blocking the road into the mountains. I was just worrying that there was no meat to eat at home, so I silently polished the Type 56 semi-auto in my hands. Aunt Ho Hot was so frightened she fell flat on her butt, and the old brigade leader scolded me for going there just to deliver rations. As it turned out, I had just entered the mountains and hadn't even had a chance to fire when the hunting dogs suddenly barked madly in another direction. Good Lord, this time it wasn't just a bear. There was a buy one get one deal. I had actually been reborn. 60 years of ups and downs, from a mountain village hunter to a special forces soldier, then to retirement and reassignment. I had experienced everything in this lifetime. On my 60th birthday, I had a few extra drinks and told my grandsons and granddaughters stories from back when I was 15 and went into the mountains to hunt and gather herbs. Then with one blink and another, I returned to the autumn of 1978. Zhangguangcai Ridge, Changbai Mountain, Taipinggu, Yushitan, that utterly ordinary little courtyard of my home, with that old yew tree in the yard covered in bright red little berries. I was wearing military green clothes, sitting on the round stone stool under the tree, using deerskin to wipe the parts of the Type 56 semi-automatic rifle in my hands. I knew this gun too well. Back in the Army, this was what I used at the beginning. Later I switched to the Type 81 and kept using it until I retired. I cleaned each part one by one, assembled it, pulled the bolt, braced the stock against my shoulder, and aimed around to check the front sight. I had just aimed the gun toward the doorway when there came a cry of, "I am Maya." I quickly lowered the gun and stood up, only to see Aunt Ho Hot sitting on the ground after falling. "Aunt Ho Hot, what happened?" I hurried to help her up. "What happened? How can you be such a reckless kid? How can you just point a gun at people?" Aunt Ho Hot complained. "Annie, I was cleaning the gun. There aren't any bullets in it." I explained with a smile. "Why are you cleaning a gun for no reason? Are you going into the mountains to hunt?" Going into the mountains to gather some herbs. And while I'm at it, see what wild game there is." "Oh right, now that you mention it, I remember. This morning over by Leagu, I spotted a bear. It was huge, a full 600 to 700 gene. It scared me so badly I ran back before even gathering any mountain produce." She patted her chest and gestured exaggeratedly. "A bear means a brown bear. We call black bears blind bears." "Perfect. Tomorrow when I go into the mountains to gather herbs, I'll kill it while I'm at it. You can have a share of the bear gallbladder." I changed the subject. "Auntie, did you need something from me? If you hadn't mentioned it, I'd have forgotten. Your sister-in-law Shochin just gave birth, and she can't urinate. Do you have any way to help? Postpartum urinary retention. I'll get you some perilla leaves. Boil them in water and drink it twice, and she'll be fine." I took a handful of perilla leaves from the herb cabinet in the house, wrapped them in yellow straw paper, and gave them to her. "How much is it?" "What money? These were herbs my father used to gather himself. They're not worth much. You're a good-hearted kid, just like your father. Later I'll have your brother Dakue bring you a few red eggs." Aunt Ho Hot turned and left. I sat back down on the stone stool and continued checking the gun, calm on the surface, but with my heart churning like a stormy sea. I had been reborn, but since I was here, I might as well make peace with it. In the mountains, a gun is your life. "Hongjun, you home?" Brigade Leader Yang Guangfu called from the courtyard gate. This was my future father-in-law, though I still wasn't engaged to his daughter, Yang Chuyen. "Uncle Yang, I'm home. I heard from Ho Hot that you're going into the mountains to hunt a bear." How can you be such a reckless kid? Is a 600 to 700 gene bear something to fool around with? Even tigers don't like provoking one." Yang Guangfu's mustache was practically sticking up. "Uncle Yang, I know what I'm doing." "Know your ass. I started learning boxing as a child, and by 16, I was already going into the mountains with my father. I know these mountains like the back of my hand. With a Type 56 in hand, I can blow a head off with one shot within 200 meters. I was firm in my attitude. I wasn't being impulsive. I truly had confidence. In my previous life, I was supposed to enlist in the army this autumn, and the next year I went to the southern battlefield. Back then I developed a habit. If I could shoot the head, I'd never shoot the body. Even hitting the heart couldn't guarantee a one-shot kill. Wild beasts have strong vitality, and many hunters died because of this, thinking they'd hit a vital spot, then going up to check, only to be dragged down with it by a dying counterattack. During that time, I was like a madman, using the Type 56 carbine to pick them off one by one shot, one head. Even headquarters knew there was a ruthless guy down below who specialized in shooting heads, and that's how I earned merits and got into the Sharp Sword Special Forces. But now that I've been reborn, I just want to live an easy life. Do some hunting, gather some herbs, and treat the villagers. You really are stubborn, kid. Tomorrow I'll have Xingli go into the mountains with you. Yang Guangfu sighed and gave in. Thanks, Uncle Yang. Qian Xingli is the militia captain. He served in the army and fought in wars, and he's a well-known crack shot in the village. Have you really thought it through? You're really not joining the army? Secretary Dong personally called his comrade in arms to get that slot for you. Uncle Yang, I've really made up my mind. I'll stay in the village and be a medic. After seeing Yang Guangfu off, I went back to fiddling with the gun. It was getting dark, so I put the gun away and started cooking. I chopped up a Chinese cabbage, washed and drained it, took out a chunk of wild boar meat from the root cellar and sliced it, then prepared scallions, ginger, and garlic. I lit the stove fire and scooped a ladle of lard into the pot. With a sizzle, that rich aroma instantly awakened my taste buds. Lard is rendered from pork fatback, and it makes stir-fried dishes wonderfully fragrant. My father is the brigade medic, so he doesn't have to do field work. He spends all day in the mountains gathering herbs and hunting, turning over the game to the production team, but keeping a portion of it. In autumn, northeast wild boars are thick with fat. One boar yields enough oil for a family to eat all winter, so our home never lacks meat or oil. When the oil was hot, I added the scallions, ginger, and garlic and stir-fried them, then poured in the wild boar meat. Once it was about 70 to 80% cooked and had changed color, I dumped the cabbage into the pot, set in the steaming rack, arranged 5 corn buns on it, and put on the lid. It was the simplest farmhouse method. The cabbage would release water on its own, so there was no need to add any. Once white steam started rising from the rim of the pot, I pulled the fire and let it sit covered for about 10 minutes. When I lifted the lid, the corn buns had softened, and below, the aroma of stewed wild boar and cabbage rushed up to my nose. I ladled the dish into a clay basin and carried it to the stone table beneath the yew tree. Eating alone felt a little lonely, but my father had gone down the mountain. He'd said he would stay and let me take care of him in his old age. But the moment his eldest grandson was born, the old man rolled up his bedding and ran down the mountain. I also have an elder brother above me, who works at the Tapinga Forest Farm and usually stays there, rarely coming down. After father went down the mountain, my elder brother asked me to move in with them, but I refused. My sister-in-law is kind-hearted, but her personality is too overbearing. At dawn the next day, I got up and wrapped my puttees. You have to wrap puttees before going into the mountains. It saves effort on the one hand, and it also keeps insects, snakes, and scorpions from crawling up your pant legs. I loaded the magazine full of bullets, worked the bolt, and checked the gun again. Then stuffed 50 rounds of ammunition and 20 wheat flour flatbreads into my satchel. I had made them specially last night. Today Qian Xingli was going into the mountains with me to help, and I was covering lunch. I had just finished getting everything ready when someone shouted outside. Qian Xingli stood at the door holding 4 dogs on leashes, and I took 2 of the leashes from him. Brother Xingli, thank you for your trouble. What do you mean, trouble? What kind of person do you take your brother Xingli for? He glared. This isn't doing you a favor, it's a production team assignment. Even if it's an assignment, if I hadn't insisted on going into the mountains, you wouldn't have had to stay up all night and still come along. That bear is staying in Leugu. If we don't kill it, nobody dares go into the mountains. I won't say more. Northeasterners are just this straightforward. You can't let go of the dog leashes before reaching the destination, or else halfway there the dogs will charge after some wild boar, and then will you follow them or not? So whenever there's a target in the mountains, we keep them leashed on the way and only let them loose after we arrive. We left the village and headed into the mountains. Yeshitin was already deep in the mountains, near the Tapinga Forest Farm. Brother Xingli, your dogs are really impressive, full of spirit and strongly built. Of course, this lead dog of mine is a Mengshi, and the other 3 are all offspring of Heihu, authentic Mengshi mixes. Qian Xingli lifted his chin proudly. I almost laughed out loud. They're mixes, yet still called authentic. When they have pups, let me take one, okay? Of course. My area is in heat. When the time comes, I'll let you pick 2 first. Did all your dogs stay up in the mountains? If you want to buy a dog, Zhao Laoxi's family in Zaiheaton just had a litter, wolf dog mixes. When we get back, I'll ask for you. That would be great. By the way, are you planning to keep hunting in the future? Qian Xingli asked me with a frown. I already told Captain Yang I'm not going to join the army. I'll stay in the village and work as a medic. Brother Xingli, you don't doubt my medical skills, do you? Doubt what? You were already treating patients independently at 16. Qian Xingli's expression softened. In mountain villages, medics held high status and were very popular. Of the 18 hamlets in Tapingu, fewer than a third had a medic. As we talked, we climbed onto a mountain ridge. When climbing, you follow the ridge, it saves effort. Up ahead is Legu, where Aunt Ho-Hot ran into the bear, and over there is a patch of soft jujube woods. The bear probably hasn't left. Qian Shengli pointed toward the distant ravine. We crossed the small river past Legu, stepping over on big stones. The moment we reached the bank, Heihu started barking. He caught the bear's scent. The two of us quickly untied the 4 dogs. The dogs shot out instantly, and Heihu, the big-headed one, ran barking and howling toward another ridge. Brother Shengli, my legs are quicker. I'll follow Heihu first, you catch up after. I shouted that and took off after them. Qian Shengli was already well into his 30s, and his stamina couldn't match mine. Before long, he had fallen far behind. I was used to running through mountain forests, but I still couldn't catch up to the dogs. I could only make sure I didn't lose them. Just as I rounded the ridge, fierce barking came from ahead. They'd already engaged it. I quickened my pace through a patch of scrub forest, and my heart leaped with joy. No mistake, it was that bear. This thing isn't a pack animal. Within a radius of 1 or 2 kilometers, there wouldn't be a second one. Heihu was leading 2 dogs and circling it, while another lay crouched not far away. I didn't know how badly it was hurt. The bear was a gun leaker, and its left foreleg was so badly wounded it was basically useless. I fixed the bayonet on the Type 56 and charged straight up. Kill it by hand. Not because I was reckless, but because I was confident. The Type 56 is powerful. It makes a small hole going in and a big hole coming out. At this distance, firing could easily injure the dogs surrounding the bear. The bear let out a threatening roar at me and swung its right foreleg in a strike. I slammed to a sudden stop, quickly turned, and circled to its left rear side. With both hands, I drove the bayonet into its back near the heart, twisted my wrist, and stirred, then pulled the blade free and stepped back. The bear swiped back with its paw and hit nothing, and I circled left again. Its eyes bloodshot, it charged straight at me. I dodged sideways and slipped past its left side again. The bear missed and tumbled, and just as it got back up, Heihu bit down on its hindquarters. That howl, it was enough to make anyone who heard it grieve and anyone who listened weep. I seized the chance and lunged forward, driving the bayonet into its chest. With a twist of my wrist, I shredded its heart, then pulled the blade out. The bear crashed to the ground. An expert once taught bear hunting methods in I plant a red tasseled spear in the ground, point the tip at the bear's chest, and let the bear charge onto it itself. Pure nonsense. Whether it's a bear or a black blind, their vitality is incredibly tenacious. Even if you stab the ventricle, it can still live for a minute. If you stab the heart muscle, it can survive for several hours. 3 or 4 minutes is enough time for a heavily wounded, crazed bear to kill a hunter several times over. Not to mention the risk of missing the vital spot. That twist of my wrist to shred its heart was meant to speed up its death. After waiting a few more minutes and confirming it was completely dead, he finally approached. Standing on the hillside, Qian Shengli had witnessed the whole process and shivered all over. This kid was too ruthless. He obviously could have shot it from a distance, yet he insisted on using a knife. Just 2 stabs, both fatal, and afterward he still waited 5 minutes before going up. Old Lu Nian was ruthless, and his second son was even more ruthless. He's somebody. I just don't know what he was thinking. He went forward to drive away the 3 dogs that were tearing at the brown bear. Dahe was limping as he ran. The bear had stunned him with a swipe earlier, and he had only just recovered. He pulled out the hunting knife and opened up the belly, first digging out the shattered heart to feed Heihu. He carefully removed the bear gallbladder. It was a bronze gallbladder as big as a bowl opening. A brown bear's gallbladder isn't as valuable as a black bear's, but it could still fetch several hundred. He cleaned out the other internal organs to feed the other 3 dogs. Qian Shengli arrived. Hongjun, you're way too fierce. 2 stabs, and you took down the brown bear. Good thing Heihu backed you up, otherwise it wouldn't have been this easy. You take the bear gallbladder. You provided the manpower and dogs, so you get 2 shares. I did the work, so I get 2 shares. Aunt Ho-Hot provided the information, so she gets 1 share. Brother Hongjun is honorable, so we'll split it like this. According to hunting rules, the dogs get 1 share, the person gets 1 share, whoever brings the gun gets an extra share, and the one who provided the information should also get a cut. But some people aren't particular about such things and just dismiss them with a bit of meat. But my family has been known for honor and loyalty since my father's generation. As long as someone provides information, they get 1 share. That way, when people hear about large game, they're willing to tell me. You don't get big bear paws every day. Only a good reputation can guarantee a source of information. Leave the brown bear here for now. I'll arrange for people to come carry it back later. The 2 of us can't carry a brown bear weighing 500 or 600 gene back. As they were talking, The 4 dogs suddenly started barking like mad. I grabbed the Type 56 rifle and looked in the direction Heihu was barking. 2 wild wolves stood on the hillside, staring at us coldly. Qian Xingli had already raised his gun and taken aim. The instant he pulled the trigger, I lifted my hand and pushed the barrel upward. With a bang, the shot went into the sky. Junzi. Qian Xingli was puzzled. That's just a mother wolf that gave birth only a few days ago. I smiled and reminded him. The 2 wolves were startled by the gunshot and turned to disappear, but Heihu had already led Dahei, Arii, and Sanhai in pursuit. To hunting dogs, a gunshot is a signal to attack. You want to dig out the wolf cubs? Qian Xingli understood instantly. That's right. I was just thinking of raising a few dogs. Aren't these good dogs delivered right to my door? Hunters don't kill animals with cubs, but ones that have already given birth can be killed. I didn't let you shoot just now because I wanted to track it and follow it back to dig out the den. With a little training, wolf cubs become top-tier hunting dogs. Then if you breed them with domesticated hunting dogs, you can get first-generation wolf dogs. The Langxing around northeast China are top-tier hunting dogs bred by crossing wild wolves with domestic dogs. As before, Lu Hongjun led in front and Qian Xingli followed behind, running up the hillside after Heihu and then chasing after the sound of Heihu's barking. After circling past a mountain gully, they saw Heihu, together with Dahei, Arii, and Sanhai, fighting with the 2 wild wolves. In terms of size, those 4 dogs, including Heihu, were all Mongolian sighthound mixes, considerably larger than the wild wolves. However, even with 4 dogs against 2, Heihu's side still failed to gain the upper hand. The 2 sides seemed somewhat evenly matched. That also showed how fierce the wild wolves were. Lu Hongjun didn't dare fire either. The 4 dogs and 2 wolves were all tangled together in a brawl. If he fired, it would be easy to skewer them in a line and hit the dogs. Lu Hongjun switched off the safety and unfolded the bayonet. He walked up carrying the gun. Seeing Lu Hongjun arrive, the cries of the wolves in the middle of the fight were filled with anxiety and sorrow. Even so, they still fought to the death without retreating. One of the male wolves even slammed Heihu aside and lunged straight at Lu Hongjun. Unfortunately, the one it faced was Lu Hongjun, a special forces soldier hardened by gunfire and battle. He directly thrust out with a level spear stab, picking the male wolf into midair, then with a flick, flung it back beside Black Tiger. Black Tiger would never let such a perfect opportunity go, and directly clamped his jaws onto the male wolf's neck. As for Black Tiger's 3 dog sons, who knows whether it was Big Black, Second Black, or Third Black, one of them bit straight into the male wolf's belly. They pinned the male wolf, which still had a breath left in it, firmly to the ground. Awoo! The she-wolf let out a shrill cry, rammed aside the dogs attacking her, turned, and ran toward the mountain forest. The 2 black dogs chased right after her. Lu Hongjun unhurriedly switched off the safety and slung the Type 56 rifle onto his back. Drawing the hunting knife at his waist, he walked over to the male wolf and drove the knife into the male wolf's heart, ending its suffering. Lu Hongjun did not bother with the she-wolf. Now was not yet the time to kill it. The she-wolf's mission was not yet complete. Don't be fooled by how the wild wolves had looked ready to fight to the death just now, as if the wolf den were nearby. In fact, that was all to confuse the enemy. Wild wolves are extremely cunning. However, no matter how cunning a wild wolf is, it still can't outfight an experienced hunter. After Lu Hongjun slit open the wild wolf's belly and fed the heart to Black Tiger and the 4 dogs, Qian Xingli also arrived, panting heavily. After searching the surrounding area once, he still did not find the wolf den nearby. Brother Xingli, wait here a moment. I'll take Black Tiger and keep chasing ahead. Lu Hongjun said to Qian Xingli. Oh, okay. I really am getting old. Back when I hunted before, crossing mountains and ridges, running 100 li or so in a day felt like nothing. Now, after only running a dozen li or so, Qian Xingli said between heavy breaths. It's also because Brother Xingli has been staying up late this whole recent while that his stamina can't keep up. After you rest for a while, by the time the winter hunt comes around, you'll be fine. Lu Hongjun offered a few words of comfort, then took a rope and tied up Black Tiger. After Qian Xingli caught his breath, the 2 men led Black Tiger and Big Black, following the tracks of Second Black and Third Black, all the way in pursuit of the she-wolf's trail. Second Black and Third Black had already chased after her, so there was no need to worry about losing the trail. This she-wolf really is cunning, Lu Hongjun said as he chopped away the branches blocking the path. That's right, in many wolf packs, the alpha wolf is a female. A she-wolf's intelligence is incredibly high, Qian Xingli echoed. As the she-wolf fled, she deliberately darted into the thickets, causing Lu Hongjun and Qian Xingli, who were tracking behind her, endless trouble. But at this point, they had no choice but to keep chasing. From time to time, Black Tiger raised his head and barked a few times, calling to his two dog sons. But there was no response. After chasing for quite a while longer, they finally heard the sound of dogs barking. Damn! When Lu Hongjun and Qian Xingli reached the battlefield, they couldn't help but curse aloud. This she-wolf is really too damn cunning. She circled around, and then circled back again. The wolf den was right below the cliff not far from the mixed woods. No wonder those two wolves, just now, had actually appeared before them in defiance of natural instinct. So it turned out that when they had just hunted the bear, they had accidentally intruded into the wolves' homeland. Showing themselves just now had been to lure them away. Yet after all the twists and turns, they still ended up back at the wolf den. At this moment, the she-wolf was frantically entangled in a fight with Second Black and Third Black. Lu Hongjun and Qian Xingli hurriedly untied Black Tiger and Big Black. In an instant, Black Tiger and Big Black shot out, joining the fight. Originally, when facing only Second Black and Third Black, the she-wolf had still been barely able to hold on, but as soon as Black Tiger and Big Black joined in, the situation changed in an instant. After only a few exchanges, the she-wolf had her neck clamped by Heihu and was pinned to the ground. Dahei and Ariai bit her legs, and Sanhai bit her belly. The she-wolf let out waves of mournful cries, barely twisting her head to look toward her den, toward her pups, tears flowing from her eyes. For a moment, Lu Hongjun truly had the thought of sparing the she-wolf and her little family. But then Lu Hongjun immediately snuffed out that thought. This was the jungle, where there was no compassion, only the survival law of kill or be killed. If it had been him alone today, running into these two wolves, they absolutely would not have spared him. Drawing his hunting knife, he walked up to the she-wolf and said softly, "Don't worry. I will raise your children to adulthood and train them into the finest hunting dogs." Then he drove the knife into the she-wolf's heart, ending its life. "Junzi, come here quick." At this moment, Qian Xingli shouted excitedly, "Your luck is really amazing. 2 wolf cubs, and one of them is a white wolf." Qian Xingli continued shouting. A white wolf is actually the result of a condition, animal albinism. White tigers, white deer, white wolves, white lions, and so on are regarded by humans as auspicious signs, symbols of good fortune. In fact, animal albinism is very common. The reason it is considered rare is because once an animal has albinism, it is very hard for it to survive to adulthood. Most are abandoned by their group while still young, or killed by predators. The 2 little wolf cubs were about 1 month old and both very sturdy. At this moment they were crouched on the ground, making threatening gestures at Qian Xingli and Lu Hongjun. Their milky little cries were adorable and very cute. But in Lu Hongjun's eyes, these 2 wolf cubs were full of spirit. "Brother Xingli, let's take one each. I'll take advantage and have that white wolf," Lu Hongjun said to Qian Xingli with a smile. "Junzi, you can have both of these wolf cubs. I don't want them. I don't have the skill to tame them. When the next generation of wolf dogs is bred, just let me pick one." Qian Xingli shook his head and rejected Lu Hongjun's suggestion. "All right, when the time comes, Brother Xingli will have first pick," Lu Hongjun promised with a smile. Then he walked over to the wolf cubs, picked them up, examined them one by one, and put them into his shoulder bag. Of the 2 wolf cubs, the white wolf was a male, and the other black-gray cub was a female. Judging by their size and the condition of the she-wolf, they were probably less than a month old and still nursing. While Lu Hongjun was putting the wolf cubs into his shoulder bag, Qian Xingli had already cut open the she-wolf's belly, taken out the internal organs, and fed them to Heihu and the others. They did not continue hunting. Qian Xingli directly fed Heihu until it was full. Then they led the dogs and headed down the mountain. They had pretty good luck today. Not only had they caught a bear, they had also captured 2 wolf cubs. Walking along the mountain path, Lu Hongjun thought happily, "Brother Hongjun, now that you have wolf cubs, are you still going to catch dog pups?" "Yes. Not only do I need to catch several more. The wolf cubs and dog pups have to live together from a young age, so it'll be easier to tame them," Lu Hongjun said. "Wolves have wolf nature, and dogs have dog nature. If wolf cubs and dog pups live together from a young age, the wolf nature will rub off on the dog pups, making the grown dogs fiercer. At the same time, dog nature will also rub off on the wolf cubs, making the wolf cubs that grow up with dogs become gentler and easier to tame, capturing wolf cubs and training them into hunting dogs. This is an ancient tradition in the Northeast. Many old hunters like to take wolf cubs to tame and raise. Hunters capable of taming wolf cubs were all top-tier hunters, marksmen. Not just anyone could be a marksman. Only the very best hunters would be respectfully called marksmen. Zhang Pao, Li Pao, Wang Pao. These were all honorific titles for hunters, a kind of honor. Coming to the bear they had just killed, Lu Hongjun cut off the bear's nose, paws, and kneecaps. As for the bear itself, this one weighed a full 600 to 700 jin. And with just Lu Hongjun and Qian Xingli, there was no way they could get it down. They could only leave it here for now and wait for Captain Yang to organize people to carry it down later. There were also 2 wolves, waiting for Captain Yang to send people to deal with them. They had gone into the mountain a little after 5 in the morning, and when they came back, it was still not yet 11. He put the wolf cubs into the dog pen. At Lu Hongjuan's home, near the west wall, the far southwest corner was the toilet. Next to the toilet were 2 doghouses, one large and one small, with a pen, one, built of piled stones outside. And inside were little stone huts built one by one. Those were the actual doghouses. The outside was called the dog pen, one. The larger one was where the dogs usually lived, and the smaller one was specially prepared for female dogs. When a female dog was in heat, she would be locked alone in the small pen, one, and the male dog chosen for mating would be locked in with her as well. Lu Hongjun put the wolf cubs into the small dog pen. Once the 2 little pups were set down, they immediately huddled together, baring their teeth at the surroundings and letting out bursts of tender cries. As expected of wolf cubs, their alertness made Lu Hongjun like them more and more the longer he looked. Lu Hongjun went into the house and found a can of malted milk, mixed more than half a basin of it, and placed it in the dog pen. The 2 pups did not go forward to drink it, but continued to squeeze together, staying on guard against their surroundings. Lu Hongjun did not bother with them either, having just changed to a strange new place. After waiting a while, once they slowly adapted, they would come over to eat. Lu Hongjun washed his hands and prepared to make lunch. The flatbreads he had prepared last night had not been eaten. Perfect. At noon today, he would stew a pot of vegetables and soak the flatbreads in it to eat. He went to the backyard and picked 2 eggplants, washed them in a basin, and without peeling them, directly broke and tore them apart by hand. Then he went to the root cellar and took out a piece of salted meat, washed it clean, and cut it into chunks. He also got the scallions and ginger ready. Brother Hongjun, you're back. You're all right, aren't you? Lu Hongjun had just lit the fire when a tall, slender young girl came in through the doorway. I'm fine. Seeing the girl, a faint smile appeared on Lu Hongjun's face. This was Captain Yang's youngest daughter, Yang Xiuyan, and also his future wife. If nothing changed, they would get engaged this autumn, and then, in his previous life, he had gone off to be a soldier, and Yang Xiuyan had waited for him for 5 years. I heard from my dad that you went into the mountains. I was worried sick. Yang Xiuyan stood across from Lu Hongjun and said with a face full of concern, what could happen? If you don't trust my abilities, can it be that you don't trust Brother Xingli's abilities? Lu Hongjun said with a smile, I trust your abilities. Brother Hongjun is the best. Yang Xiuyan said in a crisp voice as she looked at Lu Hongjun. Looking at Yang Xiuyan, whose eyes were full of admiration, a warm smile appeared on Lu Hongjun's face. Brother Hongjun, I heard from my dad that you don't want to go be a soldier? Yang Xiuyan chattered beside Lu Hongjun like a little swallow. I'm planning to stay in the village and be a medic. Brother Hongjun, haven't you always wanted to go be a soldier? Don't worry and go join the army. I will keep waiting for you. Yang Xiuyan said with a flushed face. I don't want to go anymore now. I want to stay and be a health aide instead. Or do you want me to go be a soldier? Lu Hongjun deliberately teased Yang Xiuyan. I don't want that. Hongjun ji, when I think about you going off to be a soldier and not being able to see you for such a long time, I just. Yang Xiuyan's face turned as red as sunset clouds, lowering her head and fidgeting with her fingers. While tending the stove, Lu Hongjun chatted with Yang Xiuyan. The 2 of them could be considered childhood sweethearts, innocent playmates. It's just that, in his previous life, Lu Hongjun's thoughts were not on Yang Xiuyan. It wasn't until later that, the pot is hot. Seeing Lu Hongjun light the fire, Yang Xiuyan stepped forward on her own, found the jar of lard, scooped out a spoonful, and put it into the pot. Put in a bit more. We're having stewed eggplant for lunch. Okay. Yang Xiuyan scooped out another spoonful of lard. Lu Hongjun tended the stove, and Yang Xiuyan stewed the dish. The 2 worked together very well, and before long the eggplant was stewing in the pot. Stay here and eat lunch with me. No, I snuck over here. I need to hurry home. I haven't made the family's meal yet. Only after Lu Hongjun reminded her did Yang Xiuyan remember. It was already noon, and her father and mother coming back from work along with her elder brother and sister-in-law, should all be returning for lunch. She had been so busy helping Lu Hongjun cook that she hadn't made the meal at home yet. Lu Hongjun did not urge Yang Qiuyan to stay any longer. Instead, he took out a pair of bear kneecaps from his shoulder bag and handed them to Yang Qiuyan. Take this back and give it to my uncle Yang. Just say you came to get the kneecaps. Hongjun-ji, you're so smart. If I say I came to get bear kneecaps for my dad, he won't scold me. Yang Qiuyan happily accepted the bear kneecaps. Watching Yang Qiuyan skip away, the smile on Lu Hongjuan's face gradually faded. Yang Qiuyan was only 17 this year. In later times, she would still be just a child. But in this era, at 17, she was already taking on most of the household chores. Many girls were already married by 17, and some had even become mothers. After seeing Yang Qiuyan off, Lu Hongjun looked into the pot, added some more water, and then put another piece of firewood into the stove. Hongjun cooking? A young married woman carrying a 3- or 4-year-old child walked in. Sister-in-law Xiangcao, you're here. Seeing who it was, Lu Hongjun stood up to greet her. Hongjun, my eldest nephew here. I don't know what he ate, but he's had diarrhea nonstop since yesterday. Xiangcao said to Lu Hongjun somewhat embarrassedly. He was in the middle of cooking, and she came over talking about diarrhea, which really wasn't very proper. But she couldn't very well not bring it up. Lu Hongjun, however, didn't mind this. What doctor would care about that? Not to mention this. In his previous life, on the battlefield, after a fight, guarding corpses, even with the enemy's blood still on his hands, didn't he still stuff steamed buns into his mouth all the same? While taking the child's pulse, he asked, diarrhea? What shape is it when it comes out? Is there foam in the stool? It's all watery and thin, with yellow foam in it. Has he vomited? No, it's nothing serious. This is dysentery. Sister-in-law Xiangcao, do you have garlic at home? We do. As long as you have garlic, that's fine. I'll first give my eldest nephew 2 needles. Then when you get home, roast 2 cloves of garlic for him to eat, and he'll get better. Roasted garlic really works? Yes, roasted garlic is exceptionally effective for treating dysentery and diarrhea, Lu Hongjun said with a smile. Lu Hongjun went into the house and found the alcohol lamp and the acupuncture kit his father had left behind. After lighting the alcohol lamp, he first heated the silver needles over the flame, then wiped them once with an alcohol swab. He inserted 1 needle each at Zusamli and Shinmin. They are all done. Remember to roast 2 cloves of garlic and have him eat them when you get home, Lu Hongjun said as he pulled out the silver needles and instructed Xiangcao again. I'll go back and roast garlic for him right away. Thank you, Hongjun. I came in such a hurry, sister-in-law didn't bring any money. Later I'll have your brother Quanhai bring it over to you. After saying that, Xiangcao happily walked out holding the child. No rush. Go home and use warm water with just a tiny bit of salt and feed it to the child. Lu Hongjun shouted at Xiangcao's back. Xiangcao hurried away with the child in her arms. After seeing Xiangcao off, Lu Hongjun washed his hands and got ready to eat. He lifted the lid of the pot, and a rich aroma of meat rushed up to his face. Braised eggplant with meat was the perfect match for flatbread. Eggplant loves oil, and eggplant stewed with lard and pork smelled full of meaty fragrance. The flatbread, which had little flavor on its own, once it soaked up the eggplant broth, was simply delicious. Lu Hongjun took a look and saw there was still quite a lot of broth inside. Since he wasn't in a hurry to eat anyway, he put the lid back on and let it simmer a bit longer. He went inside, found a medical book, and sat under the purple cedar tree to read. What his home had the most of was medical books, and he had no idea how his father had collected them all. In his previous life, because he went off to join the army and was gone for 15 years, all these medical books were put away by his eldest brother. By the time he was discharged, because his brother had moved several times, most of them had been lost, which filled him with regret. After reading for a while, when he saw the fire under the pot had gone out, Lu Hongjun finally put away the medical book, lifted the lid, and ladled the stewed eggplant into a basin. Because people in the Northeast eat a lot of stewed dishes, every household had no shortage of basins. Not porcelain basins, but basins fired from clay pottery by the nearby commune. He didn't know whether it was because this was a dream or because of being reborn. Lu Hongjuan's appetite had become huge. He polished off the entire pot of stew, and also ate 5 flatbreads. These flatbreads were not small either. Each one was equivalent to a big steamed bun, the big kind in the Northeast, with each bun weighing half a jin. He had just finished eating and was scrubbing the pot and washing the dishes when Qin Shengli walked in carrying a slab of meat. "Brother Shengli, have you eaten yet?" Lu Hongjun quickly put down the bowls and chopsticks and went up to greet him. "I have. The bear has been hauled back, and this is your share." Qian Shengli said as he set the meat in his hand on the stone table. This was a piece of meat from the bear's belly. The meat from a bear's belly was all fat, and in those days it was the most popular part. The fat could be rendered into bear oil. Bear oil used for cooking was even more fragrant than pork lard. Bear oil was not only good for cooking, it was also a very precious, nourishing traditional medicine. Bear oil could strengthen muscles and bones, enrich the blood and replenish deficiency, dispel wind dampness, moisturize the skin, and also treat frostbite. If your skin got frostbitten in winter, applying bear oil would heal it quickly. The slab of fat that Qian Shengli brought Lu Hongjun weighed some 20 jin. This was also the rule. After every hunt, when the village divided the meat, the people who had gone hunting always got the biggest shares. Otherwise, why would they risk going up the mountain to hunt? Of course, this was because Yeshitin was still under the production team system and had not yet implemented the household responsibility system, nor split into separate households. When hunters went into the mountains to hunt, they had to count their prey toward work points. Every year, before the autumn harvest, the production team would organize a collective hunt. First, to prevent wild animals in the mountains from coming down and ruining the crops. Second, to get some game meat. To help the commune members build up their strength so they'd have the energy to work during the autumn harvest. Brother Shengli, have some water. Lu Hongjun poured Qian Shengli a bowl of water and added a little white sugar to it. Go ahead with your work, I'm leaving. Qian Shengli picked up the bowl and drained it in one gulp, then turned and left briskly. Brother Shengli, how were those wolf bones and bear bones handled? What do you want that stuff for? The captain said they'd be boiled in the big pot tonight to improve everyone's meals a bit. Wolf bones and bear bones are both medicinal materials, so of course I want them. Lu Hongjun said. Naturally, Lu Hongjun couldn't say that he wanted the wolf bones and bear bones to make dog food. Why didn't you say so earlier? Wait here, I'll go back and tell the captain to save the bones for you. After saying that, Qian Shengli hurried off. At this time, it was when the militia was busiest. They had to stand watch 24 hours a day to prevent wild beasts from coming out of the mountains to ruin the crops, and also to prevent wild beasts from injuring people. Even so, almost every year someone still got hurt by wild beasts. There were many widows in the village. Most of their men had been injured by wild beasts. Just after seeing Qian Shengli off, Lu Hongjun was about to render the bear fat into bear oil when a middle-aged woman walked in. Aunt Guixiang is here. Seeing who it was, Lu Hongjun could only put down the fat and greet her. Hongjun, I heard you killed a bear and 2 wolves today? Lu Hongjun nodded. Then he turned and went inside, took another bowl, and poured her a bowl of water, also adding a little white sugar. Plain boiled water with a bit of sugar was a very high form of courtesy when entertaining guests in the village in those days. Aunt Guixiang, have some water. Why be so polite with your auntie? I came over to see if there were any clothes that needed washing. Look at this. Now that your father has gone away, you're left here all by yourself. How are you going to manage your days? As Aunt Guixiang spoke, she started wiping away tears. Lu Hongjun was rendered speechless by it. The way she put it made it sound like his father had died. This Yu Guixiang was a widow in the village. In her 30s, in the prime of her life when her husband was clawed by a black bear while in the mountains. She was also one of Lu Hongjun's father's lovers, and one of the people he helped support. In northeastern dialect, Tizi doesn't mean good brothers like people say online. That's complete nonsense. In the Northeast, Tizi refers to a lover or sweetheart. In Beijing dialect, it's called Bangjianer. His father had gone down the mountain to see his eldest grandson, and the one who probably missed him the most was Yu Guixiang. Lu Hongjun, however, didn't mind at all. With his father away, he felt even freer. After all, he had lost his mother when he was little, started learning Chinese medicine from his father at a very young age, and followed him into the mountains to hunt at 16. He had always lived very independently, so Lu Hongjun really didn't feel much of anything. The one who truly didn't know how to get by should be this Aunt Guixiang. After all, a widow in her 30s raising 3 half-grown children was certainly bound to have a hard life. Half-grown children couldn't earn full work points, but they didn't eat any less than adults. The days were hard enough, and the nights were even harder. You just get by somehow. I can do washing, cooking, and all that. I've also spoken with Captain Yang. I'll take over my father's post and be the village medic. That's great. Being a medic is quite good. You're a grown man. How can you possibly keep up with all the housework? Later on, I'll have your younger sister Shawan come over to help you wash clothes and tidy up the house and such. No need, Aunt Guixiang. I'm an unmarried young man, and Sister Shawan is already 16. It wouldn't be appropriate for her to come help me tidy up. It would easily stir up gossip, And how would Sister Xiaowan get married in the future? Lu Hongjun quickly refused. Before, Yu Guixiang had mentioned wanting to betroth her daughter to him, but his father had refused. On this matter, his father had been very clear-headed. He has some spare cash on hand and doesn't lack grain or meat, so helping out a widow is no big deal. He can't let his son suffer along with him. Now, knowing full well that he's about to get engaged, he still lets his daughter come over to clean up his house. What he's up to is pretty obvious. Aunt Guixiang, back when my dad was still around, you helped us with sewing and mending quite a lot too. If you run into any difficulties in the future, just say so. If it's something I can do, I'll definitely help. Seeing that Yu Guixiang still wanted to speak, Lu Hongjun quickly cut her off and continued. If I can help, I definitely will. Conversely, if I can't, then there's nothing I can do. Hongjun, you're just like your dad, both so kind and righteous. I know you might look down on me and think I'm not decent, but as a widow, what else can I do? These past years, it's all thanks to your dad helping me out. Otherwise, we, a widow and her children, really wouldn't know how we'd have gotten by. As Yu Guixiang spoke, she started wiping away tears again. Lu Hongjun couldn't help but sigh inwardly. So after returning to this era, the first thing he had to face was the mess his dad had left behind. Aunt Guixiang, Xiaowan, and the others are all grown up now. Life will get better from now on. As it happens, Brother Xingli just brought me some bear meat. Please take some back and let your younger brothers and sisters have something better to eat. Lu Hongjun picked up a knife and split the fatty meat in two, handing one half to Yu Guixiang. How can that be? You should keep it for yourself. We have some at home. Yu Guixiang quickly refused. Aunt Guixiang, take it. How much can I eat by myself? There are a lot of people in your family. How could that little bit of meat you got be enough? Lu Hongjun took a straw rope, tied up the meat, and stuffed it into Yu Guixiang's hands. Look at you, child. I said I came over to help you wash some clothes and tidy up the house. Yu Guixiang said awkwardly. It's fine, Aunt Guixiang, take it. I'm a grown young man, with hands and feet. I can take care of things myself. After finally seeing Yu Guixiang off, Lu Hongjun let out a long breath. Around Yu Guixiang, Lu Hongjun really did feel awkward. As someone who had lived through more, he wasn't opposed to his dad helping poor widows. After all, men all have physical and psychological needs. And since his dad hadn't remarried for his sake, occasionally helping someone out wasn't a big deal. Everyone in the village knew about it, and no one gossiped. A widow and a widower had nothing much to do with morality anyway. After seeing Yu Guixiang off, Lu Hongjun went to check on the two wolf cubs. Very good. The malted milk he had just mixed up had already been finished by them. It's good that they're willing to eat. That means they can be raised successfully. The biggest fear in raising wolf cubs is that they refuse to eat. Fortunately, wolves are extremely tenacious creatures and comparatively easy to keep alive. Lu Hongjun was thinking of going to the production team later to get some goat's milk to feed the two wolf cubs. Before Lu Hongjun could go look for goat's milk, at noon the next day, Qian Shengli came leading a pure white Mongolian sighthound, carrying a wooden box in his hands, and walked into Lu Hongjun's small courtyard. Brother Hongjun, you home? I am. Brother Shengli's here? Come in and have a seat. Lu Hongjun came out of the house and greeted Qian Shengli. Not going in. Look what I brought you. Qian Shengli said with a broad grin. Brother Shengli, this is… Lu Hongjun already had a guess in his heart, but didn't dare be sure, so he asked tentatively. Haha, what a coincidence. In the evening yesterday, my wife told me that her maternal family's uncle-cousin's wife's eldest brother is Li Dabalai from Lushu village. A few nights ago, while Li Dabalatsi was on duty, he was gored by a wild boar. He was saved, but he won't be able to run the mountains anymore. So the family's hunting dogs are being put up for sale. So after arranging work this morning, I rushed over to Lushu Tan. This dog is Li Dabalatsi's lead dog, called Bainyo. She's a purebred Mongolian sighthound. Bainyo is famous for ranging far and biting hard. She can identify wolves, wild boars, black bears, roe deer, and big game. A single dog can even fight a wild wolf. In the box are Bainyo's pups, 4 puppies in total. They were all carefully selected and kept by Li Dabalatsi as the dogs meant to take over. Qian Shengli excitedly explained to Lu Hongjun what had happened. Brother Shengli, is Li Dabalatsi badly hurt? Instead of asking about the dogs, Lu Hongjun asked about Li Dabalatsi's condition. The 18 villages of Taipinggu are neither exactly close nor far apart. Each is separated from the others by more than 10 kilometers and several hills, but they are also not really far, since the 18 villages intermarry, and if you trace it back, they can all be considered related. Although Lu Hongjun was an outsider, he had heard of Li Dabalatsi before. He really was a good marksman. Yeah, His leg is broken, and even if it heals, he'll still limp when he walks, so there's no way he can run the mountains anymore. That's why he thought of passing on the dogs he has on hand, Qian Shengli said with a sigh. Sigh. Lu Hongjun also sighed, lowering his head to look at the puppies in the box. As for Bai Niu, there was no need to look any further. She was a good dog. Her shoulder height was over 80 centimeters, and she weighed around 100 jin. She had a broad chest and wide back, with limbs that were both sturdy and long. Her head wasn't very big, but her mouth was, with gleaming white teeth. Her tongue hanging out as she stood there quietly. Even in an unfamiliar environment, she neither howled nor barked wildly. One look at a dog like this, and you could tell she was a good dog. Her coat was smooth and glossy, and it was obviously Dabalazzi had cared for her very attentively. As for the scars on her body, those were the medals of a hunting dog. Most importantly, it was her coat color. Pure white has a special meaning over in Inner Mongolia, symbolizing good fortune. Besides, it is said that Erlang Shen's Shaodian dog was a pure white sighthound. What Lu Hongjun cared about even more were the puppies in the wooden box in Qian Shengli's arms. Brother Shengli, look at us. We've been talking this whole time. Hurry and put the wooden box down. It must be heavy to keep holding it. Right. I've been so busy talking I forgot. Only then did Qian Shengli react. The wooden box was indeed not light to carry. The 4 puppies in the box looked to be about 3 or 4 weeks old, and had just opened their eyes. Lu Hongjun reached a hand inside. All 4 puppies immediately let out hissing whimpers. First they shrank back, and then one of the pure white puppies suddenly lunged and opened its mouth to bite Lu Hongjun's palm. As soon as the pure white pup moved, the other 3 puppies also pounced along with it, making tender little cries from their mouths. Lu Hongjun was delighted inside. They really were good dogs. That white puppy in particular looked like excellent lead dog material. How about it? That white puppy will definitely grow into a fine lead dog, Qian Shengli said with a grin. It is pretty good. Lu Hongjun nodded. He also didn't ask how much these 5 dogs had cost, because when he had previously handed the bear gallbladder from the brown bear to Qian Shengli, he had already made it clear that there was no need to give him any money, just help him find a few dogs instead. That bear gallbladder was a copper gallbladder. Although a brown bear's gallbladder is not as valuable as a black bear's, according to current prices, it could still be worth 7 or 800 yuan. Buying these 5 dogs, 1 big and 4 small, would cost at most only 200 yuan. According to the rules in the mountains, the bear gall should be divided into 5 shares. He contributed the most, so he gets 2 shares. Qian Shengli gets 1 share. Qian Shengli's lead dog Heihu gets 1 share, and Aunt Hohat gets 1 share. The money from his 2 shares is enough to buy these 5 dogs. Brother Shengli, please help me pass a message to Li Dabalazzi. Tell him I have a way to treat his leg injury and make sure his leg won't have any lasting after effects. I can't guarantee anything else, but at the very least he won't walk with a limp in the future. Lu Hongjun said to Qian Shengli while teasing the puppies. Brother Hongjun, you have that kind of skill too? Brother Shengli, my family's medical skills are sort of self-taught midway, but we used to practice martial arts. I can't guarantee anything else, but when it comes to bruises and sprains, I can definitely vouch for it. Lu Hongjun said with a smile. All right, then I'll have someone pass a message to Li Dabalazzi later. Lucky for that old bastard. I asked him for a few dogs, and he kept grumbling at me about it. Hearing that Lu Hongjun could treat him, Qian Shengli was also very happy. From his words, it was clear that Qian Shengli and Li Dabalazzi knew each other well. Still, it was normal for Li Dabalazzi to be reluctant. If it were him, he wouldn't be willing to give Bai Niu away either. Well then, Brother Hongjun, you get busy. I have to go. It's the autumn harvest now, and there's one thing after another in the production team all day long. As he spoke, Qian Shengli handed the rope tied to Huan Yu over to Lu Hongjun. This was a transfer of ownership. Don't underestimate this simple handover ceremony. For dogs, it was extremely important, because it meant a change of owner. Oh dear, look at me. I got so busy talking that I forgot to pour Brother Shengli some water. No need for the trouble. I'm leaving. Brother Shengli, I won't say thank you. We brothers have a long road ahead of us. If there's ever anything you need your brother for in the future, just say the word. Lu Hongjun politely saw Qian Shengli off. Lu Hongjun first tied Huan Yu in the big dog pen, then carried out the 4 puppies one by one and put them into the puppy pen together with the little wolf cubs. Like the little wolf cubs, the 4 puppies were still at the nursing stage. The malted milk Lu Hongjun had prepared yesterday had been eaten by the little wolf cubs, but in the end it was still not as nutritious as mother's milk. He had originally been thinking of getting some goat's milk, but now this worked out perfectly. He first let the 4 puppies and the 2 wolf cubs play together for a while, letting their scents mingle, and then after a short wait, he would lead Bai Nyo into the puppy pen to nurse the puppies and wolf cubs. The 4 puppies and 2 wolf cubs huddled together, first sniffing each other, and before long they were roughhousing together. The 4 puppies and 2 wolf cubs were all still unsteady on their feet, and watching them gather together and play was very interesting. To describe it with a modern term, they were adorable. After settling the puppies, Lu Hongjun first poured a little clean water into the dog bowl, then turned and went into the earth cellar, took out 2 bare bones with meat still on them, and threw them to Bai Nyo. Bai Nyo did not rush to eat. Instead, she quietly sized Lu Hongjun up. Bai Nyo, let's get acquainted. From now on, I'm your master, and starting today, your name is Li Hua. Li Hua, as in Fan Li Hua's Li Hua. Bai Nyo doesn't suit your valor. Follow me from now on, and I guarantee you'll live well. Lu Hongjun stepped forward and tentatively stroked Bai Nyo's. No, Li Hua's neck fur. Woof. Woof woof. Li Hua barked twice at Lu Hongjun before lowering her head to gnaw on the meat bones. Seeing that Li Hua had started eating, only then did Lu Hongjun turn around to prepare food for Li Hua. He took out 2 strips of air-dried wolf meat from the cellar, smashed them with a hammer, then put them on the small stone mill and ground them into meat powder. He gathered up the wolf meat powder and set it aside for later use. Then he took out several wolf bones and likewise smashed and ground them into powder. Next, Lu Hongjun took out some medicinal herbs and ground those into powder as well. This small stone mill was what his father used to process medicinal herbs. Lu Hongjun added a ladle of water to the pot and lit the fire. Then he grabbed 2 large handfuls of cornmeal and 2 handfuls of bean flour. Then added 2 handfuls of wolf meat powder, 2 handfuls of wolf bone powder, as well as the powdered Chinese medicine into the pot. Then added a little salt and stirred slowly. This pot of wolf meat cornmeal porridge that Lu Hongjun cooked was also a kind of medicinal diet. The wolf meat in it could nourish the 5 internal organs, strengthen the intestines and stomach, and replenish vital essence and marrow. Wolf bones, meanwhile, could strengthen tendons and bones, nourish the bones and boost qi, strengthen the waist and kidneys, and clear the meridians. The Chinese medicinal ingredients added were for strengthening the muscles and bones. These medicinal diets were prepared for Li Hua. Eating this kind of dog food over the long term could make Li Hua even more valiant. The puppies and wolf cubs had not yet been weaned. After they were weaned, Lu Hongjun would also feed them specially made dog food. If they were raised on specially made dog food from a young age, and then given raw meat once they were a bit bigger, then after being raised this way, these hunting dogs would be even bigger than Li Hua, with stronger bones and muscles, and even fiercer. Only when it came to a boil did he remove the fire from beneath the pot. He ladled out the cornmeal porridge from the pot, set it aside, and waited for it to cool before feeding the dogs. This pot was the one Lu Hongjun used for cooking, so after finishing the dog food, he still had to scrub the pot clean, since he would be using it to make lunch in a little while. After scrubbing the pot clean, Lu Hongjun unhurriedly prepared lunch for himself. Even if he was alone, he still had to eat well. There were no more wawatu left at home. And just now Lu Hongjun had been about to steam some wawatu, but Qian Shengli's arrival had interrupted him. First he took out the old dough starter and soaked it in water. Then he scooped 2 ladles of cornmeal from the flour jar, plus 1 ladle of bean flour and 1 ladle of white flour, mixed them together, and began kneading the dough. While kneading, he poured in the water the old dough starter had been soaking in and kneaded it together. The old dough starter served as yeast. In the countryside, no one used commercial yeast. Whenever they steamed buns, they would save a piece of dough and put it in the flour jar. This was the old dough starter. While the buns were steaming, he then stir-fried some dishes. By the time he finished eating, it was already past 1 in the afternoon. After the meal, Lu Hongjun fed the now-cooled dog food to Li Hua. Watching Li Hua wolf down the specially made dog food he had prepared, Lu Hongjun smiled happily. It seemed the dog food he made himself was quite popular. After Li Hua finished eating the dog food, only then did Lu Hongjun walk into the large dog pen, lead Li Hua to the small dog pen, and tie it beside the doghouse. The reason for tying it up was that although the dog pen had walls, they were only a little over 1 meter high and simply could not stop a dog. Li Hua had only just arrived at the home and was still unfamiliar with it, so it could not be let loose. Only after a week or so, once it had completely gotten used to the place, would the rope be removed. After tying up Li Hua, Lu Hongjun did not hurry to leave, but instead nervously watched Li Hua and the 2 wolf cubs. At this moment, Li Hua was equivalent to a stepmother, while the wolf cubs were the stepchildren. Whether she would accept them or not depended on the mood of this stepmother, Li Hua. Fortunately, Li Hua's attention wasn't on the puppies at all right now. After entering the small dog pen, she crawled into the doghouse and lay down, and the four little puppies eagerly rushed up. Each puppy latched onto a teat and began to nurse contentedly. The two wolf cubs also rushed up and squeezed in with the four puppies to nurse. Seeing that Li Hua didn't drive them away, Lu Hongjun finally felt relieved. As long as she didn't drive them away the first time, it meant she had accepted them. After coming out of the dog pen, Lu Hongjun didn't stay idle either and took out all the air-dried wolf meat at home, then found the wolf bones stored at home and ground them all into powder with the small stone mill. According to the proper proportions, he added cornmeal and bean flour, bone meal, meat meal, and Chinese medicine powder, mixed them evenly, and then put it in the pot to steam dry. The dry steaming was to cook this mixed dog food thoroughly. The next time he fed them, there would be no need to boil it in a pot. Just add some hot water, stir it a bit, and it could be used to feed the dogs. This was the lazy person's method. If you wanted to be more refined, you could make a mold. After mixing the dog food, put it into the mold and shape it like bones or drumsticks. That would be like the kind of dog food from later generations. Brother Junzi, two young men, one tall and one short, one fat and one thin, ran in. Brother Junzi, we heard you went into the mountains hunting today? Dashin, sure to. You two didn't go to work today? Lu Hongjun asked with a smile. These two were his childhood friends, the two playmates he got along with best in Yeshiden. The tall, fat one was called Yang Jinshan, nicknamed Dashin, and the short, thin one was called Qian Lei, nicknamed Shirtu. We were on night watch yesterday, so we're resting during the day. Have you eaten? We have. Brother Junzi, next time you go into the mountains hunting, can you take us with you? Shirtu asked expectantly. Do your parents agree to let you follow me into the mountains hunting? As soon as Lu Hongjun said this, the two of them immediately lowered their heads, looking somewhat dejected. Going into the mountains hunting was no easy job. It was hard, tiring, and dangerous. People who don't understand the trade always feel that going into the mountains hunting is great, that the family will never lack meat, and if you catch a black bear, that's a year's income. They only see the hunters eating meat, but forget the hardships and exposure hunters endure, and that for many hunters, their final resting place is the mountains, making a living from the mountains, and in the end repaying the mountains with their lives. If my family agrees, Brother Junzi, can you take us hunting? Sure. As long as your family agrees, I'll take you into the mountains hunting. Lu Hongjun nodded firmly. When going into the mountains to hunt, whether hunting with dogs or on a hunting drive, you need a helper. Lu Hongjun also wanted to train one or two trustworthy helpers whose background he knew well. Dashin and Shirtu were undoubtedly the best candidates, but their families had to agree to this first. Otherwise, Lu Hongjun definitely couldn't take them into the mountains. I heard Uncle Xingli say you brought back two wolf cubs from the mountains this time. Qian Lei remembered the purpose of his visit again. Lu Hongjun nodded and led them to the dog pen. You can't go in. Liwa just came home and is still a bit irritable. Lu Hongjun only let them stand outside the dog pen to take a look. Going inside to see was out of the question. Liwa had just changed to a new environment and was also in the nursing period. This kind of dog was the last one to provoke, and even when feeding her, Lu Hongjun was very cautious. At this moment, the little puppies and wolf cubs had all eaten their fill and were now pouncing on each other, roughhousing and playing in the dog pen. That one, snow white all over without a single stray hair, is a wolf cub, a white wolf. And that black-gray one is also a wolf cub. The other white one, with a tuft of black hair on its tail, is a Mengshi, and the other three with black stripes are also Mengshi. Lihua and the four Mongolian sighthound puppies were all found for me by Brother Xingli. Lu Hongjun introduced them to the two men. In terms of seniority, Qian Lei had to call Qian Xingli uncle. They were relatives within 5 generations of the same clan. However, Lu Hongjun and they were not related, so each addressed the others in their own way. That white wolf is really fierce, and that little white dog is fierce too. Dashin lay on the wall, looking enviously at the puppies and wolf cubs playing and roughhousing in the dog pen. Have they been named yet? Yes. The white puppy has the potential to be a lead dog, so it's called Chow Chow. As for the other 3 black-striped dogs, the one with white fur on its ears is called Dian Wei, the one with white fur on its paws is called Su Chu, and the one with white fur around its eyes is called Xiahou Dun. Dian Wei? Su Chu. Brother Junzi, these are all people's names? Dashin asked in surprise. Yeah. Do you know the 3 kingdoms? What's the 3 kingdoms? 3 countries? Shirtu asked blankly. The 3 kingdoms is. Lu Hongjun got a little stuck, not knowing how to explain the 3 kingdoms to these 2 half-literate boys who had only finished lower primary school. Yeshitin was located deep in the mountains, and the village had only a lower primary school. At the village elementary school, students could only study up to 3rd grade. If they wanted to attend upper primary or junior high, they had to go to the headquarters of Tapinga Forest Farm. And for high school, they had to go to the seat of the Dahalan Forestry Bureau. So most young people only studied up to 3rd grade, a lower primary level. The Three Kingdoms is a novel about stories from the Han Dynasty. How about this? When I go to the market after a while, I'll buy you some Three Kingdoms comic books. Once you've read them, you'll understand. Lu Hongjun suddenly remembered that in this era, comic books of the Three Kingdoms had already come out, and he could buy a set. It would be quite nice for him to read too. The comic book versions of the 4 great classical novels from this era were very exquisitely made. The illustrations inside were all painted by famous artists. They were very collectible. Although it was a spur-of-the-moment idea, Lu Hongjun still planned that the next time he went to the market, he would go take a look. If they had them, he would buy a full set of the 4 great classical novels, along with other comic books, and collect them. Later on, in the 1980s and 1990s, these kinds of comic books were still sold, but the comic books from the 1980s and 1990s couldn't compare with those from before the 1970s in printing quality or the source material for the illustrations inside. Dashin and Shirtu lay on the wall and watched for quite a while before finally leaving reluctantly. As they left, they were still muttering that they also wanted to find a puppy to raise, and when it grew up, follow Lu Hongjun into the mountains to hunt. At dusk, Lu Hongjun's elder brother hurried to Yushitan, leading a wolf dog in his hand. Junzi, I heard you're not going to the army after all, and you're staying in Yushitan to be a medic? As soon as Lu Hongba came in, he fixed his eyes on Lu Hongjun and asked. Lu Hongjun nodded. You. Lu Hongba wanted to scold him, but thinking of his younger brother's temperament, he opened his mouth. But in the end, he still didn't scold him, only sighed, took out a Type 54 pistol from his bag, and handed it to Lu Hongjun. Take this. From now on, when you go into the mountains, carry it with you. After saying that, he took out another box of pistol cartridges. Thanks, big brother. Bullshit. Why are you being polite with me? Lu Hongba finally cursed. All right, I won't stand on ceremony with you. How's my big nephew doing? In a few days, when I go down the mountain, I'll go see my big nephew. Lu Hongjun smiled, reached out to take the rope from Lu Hongba's hand. And as for the dog his big brother had brought, Lu Hongjun didn't stand on ceremony at all, nor did he decline out of politeness. He directly tethered the dog in the big dog pen and casually poured it some water. When a new dog arrives home, let it drink some water first, feed it later in the evening. As soon as our dad learned you were staying, he found someone to get this dog and had me bring it over to you. He said that in a few days, he'll scout around and find you a few more good dogs. That's great. Our dad definitely has a real knack for judging dogs. Lu Hongjun said happily. You're raising dogs again? When I came in just now, I heard barking, but I didn't pay much attention earlier. Only now did Lu Hongba ask. Brother Xingli helped me find them. Li Dabalatzi's lead dog, plus 4 little puppies. Lu Hongjun explained. This dog is really nice. What's its name? Lu Hongba walked over to the dog pen and commented as he looked at the big white dog inside. Lihua, what about the little ones? The white one is called Chow Chow. The one with white fur on its ears is called Dian Wei, and the one with white fur on its feet is called Su Zhu. And the one with white fur around its eyes is called Xiaoho Dun. You're not raising dogs at all. This is basically the whole romance of the Three Kingdoms. Then what about that other white one? Is that a wolf cub? That's right, Brother Xingli and I dug out 2 wolf cubs. Actually, Lu Hongjun just came up with these names on the spot. He really hadn't planned to name them this early before. Originally, he was planning to joke around with Dashin and Shirley, but after calling them out loud, they actually felt pretty good. Especially Chow Chow, that's a male dog. If he's trained up well, he'll definitely need to be matched with several female dogs so he can have lots of descendants. Of course, that white wolf is pretty good too. It also has the potential to become a lead dog, and its potential is no worse than Chow Chow's. White wolves have a hard time growing up, but once they survive and mature, they often become wolf kings. Whether in historical novels or mythological stories, white wolves are all incredibly formidable beings. This also has to do with how, in their youth, they endure more hardships than other wild wolves. The edge of a treasured sword comes from grinding, and the fragrance of plum blossoms comes from the bitter cold. Every hardship is a step toward growth, and white wolves suffer far too many hardships in their youth. If they want to survive, they have to make themselves stronger. So, in Lu Hongjun's view, the white wolf's growth potential is greater than that of the white dog Chow Chow. What are the 2 wolf cubs called? I haven't named them yet. Let's wait and see. I thought you were planning to call it Liu Bei? Lu Hongba teased. If it can be trained, then Liu Bei doesn't deserve to be its name. At the very least, it should be Qin Shi Huang or Emperor Wu of Han. Then what if it can't be trained? Then it'll be called a doe. Lu Hongjun said casually. It's really great chatting with Big Brother. Everything he says, Big Brother can keep up with. Unlike before, when he mentioned Chow Chow to Dashin and Shirtu, both of them looked completely baffled. Who's Chow Chow? All right, you're still the one who knows how to name things. What's this? You can't be eating this, can you? Lu Hongba turned his head and saw the basin on the stone table. As he spoke, he grabbed a bit and put it into his mouth. That's dog food I made. It was just steamed not long ago. Lu Hongjun explained with a smile. Tui, what did you steam it with? It smells pretty good. Lu Hongba spat it right out, then savored the taste for a moment before speaking with a grin. It's got wolf meat, wolf bones, cornmeal, and bean flour in it. Plus Chinese medicinal herbs like eucalyptus, taxillus, acaranthes, sabodium, and dried ginger. You're really a spendthrift. Lu Hongba said with a laughing scold. Lu Hongba had never gone hunting with them, and very early on their father had pulled strings to send him to the high school of the Dahalan Forestry Bureau. Later, at the cost of one fifth-grade ginseng root, he got him into the Taipinggu Forest Farm under the Forestry Bureau. So he really couldn't understand why Lu Hongjun and their father treated dogs even better than they treated themselves. Lu Hongjun chuckled and didn't explain much. If you're not a hunter, you won't understand a hunter's feelings for dogs. He walked into the cellar, took out a piece of meat, then went to the back and picked a few eggplants. Tonight I'll stew eggplant and stir-fry some cabbage too. How about we brothers have a drink? Lu Hongjun said to Lu Hongba. Sure, then let's have a drink. Lu Hongba sat on the stone stool, watching Lu Hongjun busy himself, with no intention of helping. It wasn't that he didn't want to help. He simply didn't know how. Lu Hongba studied all the way through high school and had basically never done any housework. After graduating from high school, he entered the forest farm, and not long after that he got married. After marriage, he became even more the type to have clothes handed to him and meals served right to his mouth. Lu Hongjun didn't call for his help either. For this bit of work, having Lu Hongba help would only make things more chaotic. He washed the eggplants clean, then directly tore them into small pieces by hand. Then cut the meat into small half-centimeter thick pieces. This meat had been stored from before, pork belly from a sow. This kind of pork belly was no worse than meat from a domesticated pig. Lu Hongjun's movements were extremely quick and deft. In no time, he had the eggplant stew on the stove, then went to the backyard and chopped down a head of Napa cabbage and brought it back. He broke apart the cabbage, washed it twice, then sliced it into shreds, then washed it once more with water, scooped it out, and set it aside to drain. After the cabbage had drained, it had to be stir-fried over high heat to preserve the cabbage's tenderness and crispness so it would taste good. Cooking by himself, Lu Hongjun didn't seem busy at all, neither hurried nor flustered. He saw that the stewed eggplant had come to a boil, put on the steaming rack, placed the wawatu for dinner on it, and covered it with the lid. It continued to bubble over low heat for a while. By the time the eggplant had nearly reduced its sauce, the wawatu had finished steaming too. Lu Hongjun was busy when the courtyard gate was suddenly kicked open. Lu Hongjun, get out here. Someone stood at the doorway shouting his name. Lu Hongjun came out of the kitchen and into the courtyard. Lu Hongjun, the bear my brothers and I hunted ended up letting you reap the benefit. What do you have to say about that? For people barged into Lu Hongjun's home, and one of them pointed at Lu Hongjun and demanded angrily. Lu Hongjun knew all of these people. They were notorious hoodlums in the village. They called themselves hunters, but no one had ever seen them bring down any prey. Day after day, the few of them hung around together, stealing chickens and dogs, and prying open widows' doors. Gooden, you've gotten bold, huh? Drank a couple ounces of cat piss, and you dare come here to make trouble? Lu Hongjun looked coldly at Gooden and the other three. UTM. Gooden had only cursed a few words when someone kicked him in the lower abdomen. His whole body flew backwards several meters, and with a thud he dropped to his knees on the ground. Seeing Gooden get hit, the other three had just started to move when a gun was pressed against Ernuzzi's forehead. Go ahead, make one move and see what happens. I'll blow your damn head off. Lu Hongba said coldly, pressing the gun to Ernuzzi's head. Lu Hongba was a security officer at Taipinggu Forest Farm, so naturally he carried a gun. Big brother, it's not worth it for these pieces of trash. If you blow them away, you'll still have to write a report. Too much trouble. Next time we go into the mountains, I'll kill them in there. Lu Hongjun stepped forward, pressed down Lu Hongba's arm, and said with a smile. Although Lu Hongjun said it smiling, to Ernuzzi and the others, It was even more terrifying than having a gun pressed to their foreheads. Was that even something a human would say? Killing them here and writing a report was troublesome, but killing them in the mountains wasn't troublesome? Especially with the killing intent filling Lu Hongjuan's faint smile. This was the killing intent Lu Hongjun had accumulated in the army amid mountains of corpses and seas of blood. This aura truly terrified Ernyozi and the others. Without killing 10 or 20 people, how could there be such terrifying killing intent? At this moment, Ernyozi was a little regretful that he had followed Go Dan here to cause trouble for Lu Hongjun. Back when his old man was around, Go Dan, Ernyozi, and the others wouldn't have dared come over to make trouble even if you gave them 3 times the courage. It was only because they heard that Lu Hongjuan's old man had gone down the mountain to see his grandson, and that only Lu Hongjun, a half-grown boy, was left at home, and they also heard that Lu Hongjun had gone into the mountains and killed a black bear and had a few drinks at noon. After discussing it, the group planned to come over and extort Lu Hongjun for some money. In their eyes, Lu Hongjun was just an 18-year-old half-grown boy. As long as they scared him a little, how could they not get some money for drinks? Only, they hadn't expected that Lu Hongjuan's elder brother, Lu Hongba, would actually show up. Before they had even exchanged a few words, one of them had been kicked flat on the ground, and then someone pointed a gun at his head. The alcohol had already worn off for Ernyozi and the other two. Trembling, they didn't dare move or speak. Although the old Lu family were outsiders who had fled famine to the northeast in 1960, and were the only household of their kind in Yushu village, who in the 18 villages of Taipinggu dared provoke the old Lu family. It's no big deal. If they break into my house to rob me and I shoot them dead, it's just a matter of writing a report. I'm good at that. As Lu Hongba spoke, he raised the gun again. In this era, cadres from the security section had gun permits and law enforcement authority. Especially in these deep mountains, if you killed someone, it really was just a matter of writing a report. Especially Go Dan, Ernyozi, Senlizi, and Erpizi. These 4 were notorious and already on file with the Forest Farm security section. Go Dan, Ernyozi, you little bastards, stirring up trouble as soon as you get back to the village, huh? Just as Ernyozi and the others were trembling so badly, they felt like peeing themselves, a sudden shout came from outside. To Ernyozi and the others, that shout sounded like a cry of salvation, incomparably pleasant. Their hearts relaxed, and then a warm stream appeared in their crotches. Lu Hongjun caught a whiff of urine and quickly pulled Lu Hongba back 2 steps. At this moment, Qian Shengli arrived at the scene with about a dozen militiamen. Qian Shengli had been at the brigade headquarters assigning the militiamen their night watch duties when he heard a villager come report that Go Dan and Ernyozi, for people in all, had entered the village to cause trouble for Lu Hongjun. So he hurried over with his men. After arriving, he saw Lu Hongjuan's door crooked and fallen to one side, with Go Dan lying on the ground. They definitely had come to blows. And Qian Shengli had a lot of faith in Lu Hongjuan's fighting ability. Tie them up for me. Qian Shengli gave the 4 no chance to explain and directly waved his hand, ordering the militiamen behind him. The 4 men were overjoyed at Qian Shengli's appearance and cooperated readily as the militiamen tied them up. Bozi, you're back? Only then did Qian Shengli notice Lu Hongba standing beside Lu Hongjun, and he greeted him with a smile. Just got here not long ago. Never thought that right after getting back, I'd run into something like this. Is this because my little brother was left alone in the village, so people think they can bully him? Lu Hongba said with a faint smile. Bozi, don't worry about that. Your brother is my brother too. Absolutely no one will bully Junzi. I've wanted to deal with these 4 bastards for a long time. Just watch how I deal with them this time, and that'll be that. Qian Shengli quickly thumped his chest and promised. The 18 villages of Taipinggu all relied on the Taipinggu forest farm for their livelihood, and the forest farm's influence over those 18 villages was quite great. All right then, I'll leave my little brother in your care. But if my little brother gets bullied, I won't be happy. Don't worry, whoever dares bully Junzi is making an enemy of me. I'll beat them half to death. Qian Shengli said loudly. Brother Shengli, you haven't eaten yet, have you? Come in and have a bite. Lu Hongjun quickly invited him. No, I won't go in. I'll go back first and deal with those 4 bastards. I still have to do the night watch tonight. Qian Shengli waved his hand and said, All right then, I won't keep you. After the autumn harvest is over, the 2 of us brothers will have a good drink. Lu Hongba said with a smile. All right, once the autumn harvest is over, I'll come down from the mountain to see you. After saying that, Qian Shengli left in a rush again. The people around who had been watching the commotion also gradually dispersed. As for no one speaking up for him just now, Lu Hongjun didn't mind. For one thing, no one dared provoke Go Dan and the other four. And for another, there hadn't been time. Go Dan had barely said a couple of sentences before Lu Hongba knocked him to the ground with one kick. Still, someone had run to inform the militia squad. That was a favor of goodwill. Later, they could ask Qian Shengli who it was, so they could repay this favor later. Captain, what should be done with these four brats? Back at the brigade headquarters, militia member Qian Shengli was there. Tie them to a tree first, and tomorrow hang placards on them and parade them through the streets. Qian Shengli said angrily. He had just been mocked a few times by Lu Hongba, and he had a belly full of anger with nowhere to vent it. Go Dan and the other three had ended up right in the line of fire. Being tied to a tree for one night would take half their lives, and then parading them through the streets would truly make them like rats crossing the street. Then again, that wasn't quite right. They were already pretty much rats crossing the street. Except that not everyone was shouting to beat them. People were unwilling to provoke these street loafers and could only despise them in their hearts. Captain Qian, Uncle Qian, we were wrong. We won't dare do it again. Uncle Qian, we didn't really do anything. Go Dan only kicked the door once, and then he was sent flying several meters by the eldest son of the Lu family. When Go Dan, Aaron Yozi, and the others heard they would be tied up for a night, and then paraded through the streets, they immediately wailed and begged Qian Shengli for mercy. Didn't do much? What more did you want to do? If I had arrived one step later, you little bastards would all be lying there. Is the old Lu family easy to mess with? Every one of you had your minds clouded with lard, and you actually dared to go after Lu Hongjun. That kid practiced martial arts with his father since childhood. At 16, he was already going into the mountains to hunt. Even bears he dared to charge at with a knife, and you went looking for trouble with him. You really are hanging yourselves because you've lived too long and are tired of being alive. Qian Shengli pointed at them and shouted. Two of them were from the old Qian family clan. Otherwise, Qian Shengli couldn't have been bothered to waste so much breath on them.